I will be doing my presentation on happiness in Israel. Did you know that according to the United Nations World Happiness Report, Israel is ranked as the 13th happiest country in the world? After hearing about their ranking in class, I became curious as to how Israel got such a high score out of all the countries in the world. When I did my research, I took into account the United Nations definition of happiness by looking for the key variables they use to rank each of the countries, which are income, life expectancy, trust, freedom, generosity, and social support. They found that these variables were highly present in all of the top ranking countries. Something that I felt was important to address before talking about why Israel is ranked as one of the happiest countries in the world is the Western media portrayal of the Middle East as a whole. Many media outlets only focus on the violence and conflicts that occurs in these countries, which gives the whole region a bad reputation. This has resulted in many people picturing the Middle East as if it was a war zone, with extremists running rampant, which is actually far from the truth. In reality, the violent acts we often see portrayed on the news don't happen as common as we think they do, and they don't define the area. These images we often see give us altered conceptions of what life is like for those who live in the Middle East. When I started doing research for this presentation, I had to personally address misconceptions and beliefs that I didn't even recognize that I held in order to understand why Israel ranked as high as it did. Going into this research with an open mind helped me see past the negative stereotypes that Western media has implemented, and it really helps me learn about the citizens and what contributes to their overall well-being. The reason I am bringing this up is to ask you all to try to recognize and set aside stereotypes in order to go into this presentation with an open mind. I also thought it would be important to address specific conceptions of Israel to debunk stereotypes of this country being unsafe. Although Israel has had conflict with both Lebanon and Gaza, it is not a country engulfed by war. Some altercations have only led to small wars between the countries, which often turn back into disagreements. Israel also has a strong defense system against rockets when small wars break out to ensure the safety of its citizens and travelers. Their defense system, which is called the Iron Dome, is a top-notch security system which ensures the safety of the citizens when conflict does break out. Another reason why most citizens feel no effect by these conflicts is because the country they involve border Israel in an area where there is little to no civilian population. Most of the population of Israel is condensed in urban areas that are more centralized in the country. This makes only certain parts of Israel unsafe, but this is no different than any other country around the world. All countries have relatively unsafe areas. Lastly, unpopular to what we would assume, Israel has a remarkably low crime rate. As a matter of fact, it has been reported that their crime rate is lower than the current crime rate in America. Now that I have addressed misconceptions that people often hold about Israel and the countries that neighbor it, I will get into why this country is so happy. After evaluating the social structures within this country and looking at key variables the United Nations used, I found that Israel has maintained a high ranking as one of the happiest countries in the world due to their involved government, economic growth, and overall healthy lifestyle. I will start by discussing the trust in the government that is present within Israel. Then I will address the economic growth the country has experienced and finish with the healthcare system in Israel. By observing the trust Israelis have in the government, I have found that there are indisputable positive outcomes that come along with having a system that works for and with the people. Israel's form of government is a parliamentary democracy, which is a form of government that is common in first world countries such as like the United Kingdom. And this is an effective form of government because it allows for the citizens to have a say in like their country's policies and stuff, and which leads to more rights. The citizens in Israel don't have to worry about their government infringing upon their rights or implementing policies that go against the greater good due to the trustworthiness that the government has established to its people over time. For example, their government has passed several policies to protect the rights of minorities. An example of the minorities that the government has protected are gays. For example, Israel's government passed a law allowing people, regardless of their sexual orientation, the right to serve in the military. This law was actually passed long before the United States had passed a law like this on their own. Israel's government has shown that they stand up for people's equal rights by ensuring that minorities that are prone to being persecuted in other countries around the world do not face the same discrimination within Israel. They also ensure that people who are minorities have basic human rights through the law. According to the author Bacon in the article The State of Happiness, which was published in 2010, the government can improve overall well-being because governments cannot make people happy. What they can do is create the conditions in which they are more likely to be happy. This quote shows how governments can foster safe and healthy communities for all by ensuring that those who are often marginalized are able to live their lives to the fullest potential without facing discrimination or even the fear of discrimination. The current state of Israel's government fulfills the strand of purpose because it creates a fair environment for people to pursue whatever they want without the fear of discrimination. Another source of happiness that can be found within Israel is the flourishing economy. According to the United Nations Development Program, Israel's HDI value for 2018 was 0.906, which put the country in a very high human development category and positioned it at 22 out of 189 countries and territories. Although money does not necessarily buy happiness, having a growing economy can help establish financial security for the citizens of Israel. There have been significant economic growth in Israel, which has led to advancements in many other areas, such as medicine and technology. According to the author Doran in the article Israel Affairs, which was published in 2014, today Israel is generally considered one of the world leaders in high-tech advancements, water utilization, agriculture, and medical innovations. Prosperity in all of these categories can help people live happier and healthier lifestyles by not having to struggle with finances and survival necessity. The economy fulfills the strand of pride because having easier access to resources allows for citizens of Israel to be able to strive for excellence. Even though Israel has one of the best economies in the world, there are some controversies that come along with Israel's strong economy. Many citizens complain about the high cost of living due to the rise in pricing of non-tradable products. Many have called on political leaders to solve this problem, but so far, no actions have been made to help citizens attain cheaper living. According to the author Gillian Brand in the State of the Nation report from 2015, a large part of the price rise derives from non-tradable products and particularly from the categories of housing, house maintenance, and food, which comprises nearly half of the average household expenditure. This rise of price in necessities has led to many protests and other forms of civil dispute within Israel, such as the social protests that occurred in 2011. Hopefully the government gets involved and finds a way to curb prices of non-tradable products to ensure that citizens are getting fair prices of items they need. This controversy goes against my personal values of justice because of the lack of government involvement. I personally believe that it is the government's job to get involved and ensure that people can get fair pricings, and until the government decides to take action, it is a huge form of injustice that is currently happening in the country. Lastly, a crucial source of happiness for Israelites is the high-quality healthcare system that is offered to all citizens. Their easily accessible healthcare system helps prevent illnesses that can lead to pain and shorter lifespans, which allows Israelites to live their lives to the fullest. According to the author Jaffe, in the article Community Healthcare in Israel Quality Indicators, which was published in 2009, rates of appropriate use of asthma control medication for individuals with persistent asthma increased over the 3-year period, and influenza immunizations for this group increased to a rate of 40% by 2009, which was an absolute increase of 11%. This rate shows how strong of an effect affordable and easily accessible healthcare has had on communities in Israel. Since their healthcare is high quality and easily accessible, all citizens are guaranteed a chance at living their lives to the fullest potential without health conditions interfering. Even though in the quotation I used, asthma can be like a small example, it still shows the effectiveness that their healthcare system has by how many people are easily able to access it due to the high increases of people being covered for it. Being able to live without health conditions interfering is especially true for simpler diseases that can be easily treated with today's medical advances, because by being given access to medical care, those who would not have it are able to receive treatment. I think their healthcare falls into the strand of pleasure because it helps people reach for satisfaction in life and find enjoyment. If the Jesuit values were to be applied to the current state of Israel, their trustworthy government would fall into the category of women and men for and with others. Their government embodies this value by standing up for the marginalized and ensuring that they receive equal treatment by law. By ensuring that people who would typically be seen as marginalized are free from prejudice, the overall well-being of the country is drastically improved. When equal treatment is ensured to all citizens, it relieves stress, therefore helping to enhance the overall well-being of all citizens. Israel's healthcare system also would fall under the Jesuit value of cura personalis. This is due to the fact that the healthcare system allows for Israelites to gain access to care that fulfills individual needs and the person as a whole. Not only does Israel's healthcare aid those who are sick, they also excel in preventative care. This allows for people to have all aspects of their lives cared for to prevent illness in the future. Lastly, I personally think that the economic state of the country falls under the Jesuit value of magis. This value means to strive for more and excellence. By having a strong economy, citizens are allowed to strive for higher standards of living, because a strong economic structure can help raise other aspects of life, such as medical services. Having easier access to resources supported by the economy allows for the citizens of Israel to be able to strive for excellence. In conclusion, with all three of these factors combined, it is no surprise that the people of Israel are ranked as the 13th happiest people in the world. With all of the negative media Israel receives in the Western world, it can be hard for us to believe that Israel has a good economy, government, and healthcare system. But these three factors make them one of the happiest countries in the world. Israel has maintained a high ranking as one of the happiest countries due to their sense of security, economic growth, and healthy lifestyle. By evaluating Israel's culture, Americans can look to adopt some of their ways of life to improve the overall well-being of happiness in the United States, since this same report ranked America as the 18th happiest country in the world. Even though this statement can be contrary to popular belief within our society, happiness among Israelites is prevalent and strong. I will be doing my presentation